Deadlock, Valve's newest game and its worst kept secret. It's a game that's been in a hidden playtest since last year, and now that it's finally been freed from its NDA chains, I can finally start yapping about it. I've been playing this game for a few weeks now, and I'm here to tell you guys that this is potentially Valve's new future. Between the cerebral satisfaction of learning the ins and outs of every character, the mechanical skill expression provided by the shooter mechanics, and the fun characters with unique kits and expressive personality, Deadlock offers something for people who are veterans of the MOBA genre, as well as those who just want to give it a try. As someone who's had experience with Valve's other MOBA, there is so much about this game that I want to break down for you guys, and I'm so excited to share everything that I love about it. So sit back, stay hydrated, and most importantly, I hope you all enjoy. I believe it's best that I explain what Deadlock even is. As I mentioned before, it is first and foremost a MOBA game. While people may be tempted to draw comparison to games like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals, considering their popularity right now as hero shooters, Deadlock's DNA is far more connected to games like League, Heroes of the Storm, and that game. Yes, while there are skills that you can transfer from Overwatch, such as cooldown rotations, team coordination, aiming, etc., there are completely different beasts and should ultimately be treated as such. Deadlock is a 6v6 game where each team is trying to destroy the enemy's patron. This is your equivalent to a Nexus or an Ancient or what have you. There are multiple lanes that heroes fight in, you gain currency to upgrade your equipment, and there are guardians placed along the way to gate the progress to the patron. You have troopers that serve as both meat shields as well as your main source of souls. As the game goes on, you get more levels and equipment that boosts your hero so you can get stronger and stronger. So far, this is pretty standard for every MOBA game. What sets Deadlock apart is the fact that it's a third-person shooter that has a very big emphasis on verticality and movement. Even compared to a game like Smite, Deadlock still feels like its own game, as the former doesn't really do anything with the concept beyond just shifting the camera POV. Meanwhile, Deadlock fully embraces being a third-person shooter and leans into making the experience unique because of that choice. An example of this is the manner in which you collect souls. Killing troops nets you a certain amount of souls depending on how long the game's been going. Souls are basically your currency as well as your experience. However, killing a troop will not automatically give you all the souls that you would have earned. Orbs will appear after you kill anything in the game, and shooting them will net you the full value of your kill. And this doesn't just stop here though, as the orbs can also be shot by your enemies, denying you the extra souls entirely. This now introduces an extra layer of depth, because when you're in the laning phase, now you're juggling between trying to kill the troopers, shoot their orbs, as well as denying your enemies their soul orbs. What I love about this system is that it can only be done in Deadlock. It shows that the game being a third-person shooter wasn't just an arbitrary choice. It was done because the game cannot exist in any form without its shooting mechanics. The game is filled with these intricacies that are both a staple of the mobile genre while also being entirely unique to itself. And I'm just talking about the laning phase. There's also the different builds to consider with the varying items and skill choices that you can take per level, the various power-ups that you can pick up all around the map, the mid-boss that grants your entire team a powerful buff if you manage to take it down, and even neutral creeps hiding in the alleyways and the basements that you can kill for even more souls. And an interesting part about all these complexities is that the game doesn't shove all of these concepts at you all at once. See, you're not really going to instantly lose a match if you don't have all of this in mind, especially when you're first starting out and you're matched against fellow new players. Instead of worrying about all the complex MOBA stuff, you can just start out by sharpening your skills on the mechanical front. You can practice aiming for headshots to squeeze out more damage against your enemies, you can learn the movement system that consists of all of the staples like dashing, double jumps, and super jumps, or you can just see what abilities your heroes have in the sandbox just so you can get a good feel for them. Editing body shot here. While I was finishing up the video, the devs pushed out a big update that added wall jumping as one of your core movement mechanics. I kinda just wanted to point it out because that's sick. They also added a gym in the practice map where you can train parrying because, well, it's 2024 and you just can't have a game without a parrying mechanic. And they also added ropes all around the map to climb up buildings to encourage even more verticality. If Funk doesn't make a video on this game, I'm going to eat my shorts. The devs don't expect you to know all these things, and you should give yourself the space to learn at a pace that you're comfortable with. After all, despite how competitive and sweaty MOBA games can be, it's ultimately important to keep in mind that you should be having fun. It's almost as important as hitting the subscribe button if you're enjoying the video and leaving a comment on how you feel about the game. What I love about the way that the game has been designed is that it feels like the devs have a confidence and an intentionality that goes into the choices and the changes that they make. This is where that Valve quality comes in, and it truly shines. I don't think I need to point my fingers when I mention that certain games that have certain issues with the identity of their game design. But back to the topic of learning your heroes, I absolutely love the way that devs have designed them in this game. They have always had a rich history of being absolute masters at creating interesting characters to play with, whether it's their visual appeal, their fun gameplay that has been baked into the characters, or the characterization that's been included in their lore and voice acting. One of my favorite examples is Bebop, your resident hook character that's integral in every team-based game. He's your Roadhog, he's your Blitzcrank, and he's your Pudge. He's a big beefy boy who pulls enemies into bad positions and removes the life from their bodies. Fun stuff. Just based on his looks alone, you get a good general idea on how he functions. His massive arms suggest that he's good at brawling with people at close range, which is reflected in his gameplay as he can absolutely uppercut you into the goddamn atmosphere with a bomb strapped to your chest. His other arm being a laser gun is not just his regular weapon, but it's also where his ultimate comes from, as it is a big fuck off laser gun of death. I love when devs marry a character's design with their mechanics. It's an easy way to communicate the player the kind of experience that they're going to have with the character they choose, and that philosophy bleeds into every character. Do you want to be a sneaky assassin that can pop into the backline, secure a kill, and escape? Hayes has you covered. Do you want to be an unkillable melee tank who wades into a group of enemies with stuns and insane regeneration? Abrams has your back. Do you want to be an asshole? Lash! With the variety of heroes that the game offers, and the sheer quality built into their design, there will be something here for everyone. However, despite the game doing its best to cater to a lot of different playstyles and tastes, it is simply not a game made for everyone. If you're a player who's coming into the game expecting to get carried from your experience with other shooters, this really isn't that kind of game. While the pacing of the game is certainly a lot faster compared to other MOBAs, you still have to play by the rules of a MOBA. You're not going to do any sick plays until at least 5 to 10 minutes into the game after you've sufficiently farmed enough. And even then, if you neglect farming because you just want to keep making duels happen, the enemy team is going to very quickly catch up and kill you, and you're just gonna lose. At the same time, if you're coming in as a MOBA player without acknowledging the fact that the game is a completely different mechanical experience, you're gonna end up getting rolled too. The fact of the matter is, the main way to kill enemies and secure souls requires some level of aiming and reactionary skills that just isn't cultivated in a regular MOBA setting. If you can't adjust to that, you're ultimately going to fall behind and you're gonna suffer for it. But for people like myself who are itching for a game that's just a little bit more mechanically involved and action-paced than Dota, and has a more strategic element baked into it compared to Overwatch, Deadlock is a game that is exactly made for us, and I completely and wholeheartedly recommend you guys to give it a try. Deadlock has a niche in the market that hasn't really been properly filled to my own knowledge. The last game that I remember that even plays remotely close to it was Super Monday Night Combat, and that game died back in 2018. Shout out to anyone who remembers that game. As long as Valve continues to support the devs and just lets them cook, I have no doubt in my mind that Deadlock will find itself as the next big thing. As of writing, the game just breached 100,000 players as an invite-only playtest, and the numbers have only continued to rise since then. If you open any social media website, you are bound to run into people talking passionately about the game, making memes about it, and posting their gameplay footage. Hell, there has already been a tournament hosted for the game with cash involved. People are that rabid for a playtest. Eat your fucking heart out, Conquered. Sorry. I'm still salty at Snowy for what it did to Helldivers, and seeing them lose $200 million fills me with an unmatched glee. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on Deadlock. If you guys want to give the game a try, you can join my Discord link down below. I'll be inviting the first 20 people there asking to join the playtest. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe or get into the links below. I also have channel memberships open with exclusive perks and rewards for anyone who's interested in helping me out directly. I am so excited to see the game get more and more attention as time goes on, and I genuinely cannot wait to see where the devs take us. In the meantime, you guys stay safe, stay hydrated, and most importantly, I hope you all take care of yourselves.